So in this video, I'm going to be walking you through how to get 100 calls a month, how to book them in. With this system here, I'm going to walk you through it and what you need to keep in mind. So this is kind of the system that we use with our clients. So number one is the math. So you need to understand it. The planning model to go from outreach to book calls. So 20 working days, let's assume you have 20 working days, right? Outbound touches, so 250 messages per day. That's how many you want to be saying. You might need 1 to 2 appointment setters to do this, but you can usually do one. And that's going to get you 5,000 a month messages. And then from those 250, you're going to be getting 50 replies or so a day, approximately 50, which is 1,000 replies. And from that, you're going to get at least half of them, or maybe a third of them, that are going to be qualified, which is 500 a month qualified. And then from that, you're going to get 5 calls booked a day, which is 100 booked calls a month. So it's important to remember this is a planning model, not a guarantee. Warm inbound leads can require far fewer touches. Cold outreach can require far more. And we have to focus on those follow-ups as well. So the second thing is to have a clear, ideal client profile. You need to understand who qualifies, who doesn't qualify, income, do they have an income? What is their revenue level? Do they have a business, depending on your niche? Do they have a business? What is their business type? Main problem? What problem are they struggling with? That is the main thing you need to talk about 90% of the time. And buying ability. Do they have the resources? So you understand the math and you understand what kind of person you need to sell to. Next is to understand enough lead volume. So to book 100 calls, the setter needs access to a large enough pool of inbound DMs, followers, story viewers, post engagers, old leads, no-shows, past conversations, and cold prospects. If you don't have lead volume, you're not going to be able to get 100 calls a month. You need lead volume. This is where it starts. And that's why if you're someone who runs a lot of ads, you can do this. And if you post a lot of content and you get a lot of views, and a lot of likes, and a lot of comments, you can also do this. Okay, so you need to make sure you understand the math behind it, you understand what kind of person you're going for, and then you have a lead volume. Because without the lead volume, you can't do this. Next is lead generation engine. The coach needs at least one reliable source. So inbound, you've got content, ads, lead magnets, community, audience growth. Outbound, you've got cold Instagram, LinkedIn, depending on the niche, of course, and existing database reactivation. So what this basically means is that, yes, you can do cold. When I say cold on Instagram, I don't mean you can do cold to random people. I mean cold to your audience, right? So they may like your posts, so they're kind of warm, but you can do outreach to them. LinkedIn depends if you're a business. Email, that's fine. I'm not going to go too much into that. It's not really an appointment setting thing. And existing database. So if you have people who you've already had a conversation with 6 months ago on your Instagram, you can open up a conversation with them. And these are all the things that you need to train an appointment setter to do. So number 5, setter infrastructure. You need to have these things. Let's just zoom in a bit. Dedicated setter. So you need a dedicated setter who is trained, who understands the business model, who understands your offer, who understands the way you work, who understands how to manage your CRM. You need to train the setter. Next is you need an Instagram/account access. So you need to give them access to your Instagram without giving them your password. That's quite a complex process, but we've managed to figure it out at my business, apexsetting.com, link in bio. But yeah, you need to figure that out. How to give them access. So remote desktop VM. So you need to have a virtual machine if required, if they're working remotely. And CRM. You need to make sure that they understand the CRM fully, they understand the calendar fully. You have these 2 things, and also you have scripts. So you don't want to hire someone unless you have the scripts and all these things ready, because many people will hire a setter and think that they can take care of the CRM, the calendar, the script, but that's your job. Qualification criteria, that's another thing you need to come up with to teach your setter. Follow-up system, you have to come up with that to teach your setter. KPI dashboard, you also need to know what your KPIs are so that you can train your setter. It's like, even though you can hire, let's say, an engineer to work at let's say you own Volkswagen. You can hire an engineer, but it doesn't mean they're going to come in and work magic. You have to train them, even if they're fully qualified. So you can have the best of the best setter. You need to train them. Number 6, daily setter targets. So one setter scoreboard should be like this: 250 total let's say, DMs a day, right? 50 replies. So this 250 can also be like old DMs and open up old conversations, etc. 50 replies a day you should get from that. 25 qualified conversations a day from that. And then 5 book calls a day, right? If you have a good CRM, you should be managing all your numbers and teach your setter to do it too. So over 20 days, you're going to reach out to 5,000 people, 1,000 replies you should get, 500 qualified conversations, and 100 book calls. So the follow-up system would be separate pipelines to maximize conversions, new leads, active conversations, follow-up needed, qualified but not booked, booked, no-show, reschedule, long-term nurture. Yeah, so these are kind of the categories you're going to have in your CRM, in your pipeline to put people into, right? A lot of the 100 bookings should come from follow-up, not constantly finding new people. So sales capacity, 100 booked calls is useless if the coach can't take them. So 100 booked calls, 70% show rate, 70 attended calls over the month. Attended calls a day, 3 to 4, let's say. If close rate equals 25%, 70 shows, 25%, that's if you're just doing 25%. That's 17 to 18 new clients per month at £3,000, or let's say dollars, which comes to 52,500 a month. New cash contracted monthly. So they're the numbers, they're the math. And also, this is kind of how it works. You have a strong offer, clear ICP of your ideal client, enough leads, 1 trained setter, 250 daily touches, 5 bookings per day, 100 calls a month. Implement the system, be consistent with it, review weekly, optimize constantly, and scale predictably. So if you know your numbers and you know this full system, you're going to be able to scale predictably. If you need help hiring a setter, sourcing a setter, interviewing a setter, training a setter, or just setting up the whole system in general, I can help you with it. Check out my website or book a call below. Cheers.